My crazy sister is obsessed with my boyfriend and is actively trying to steal him away from me. She even encourages her daughter to start calling him daddy with the hopes that one day he would be her husband. And at this point, I'm just so freaked out and I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'll start by saying that I love my sister very much, even though we have never really been that close. Something that's always caused tension between us is that she can be quite a jealous and insecure person and is always comparing herself and her life to others, particularly me. She has in the past frequently expressed jealousy over my appearance, as well as my weight, career, friends, travel, etc. The one aspect of our lives that she's always felt superior to me over is our love lives. I have had really bad luck when it comes to love. I had one relationship that was incredibly abusive, and as a result, dating has been quite hard for me, and now I have a difficult time trusting men. I was single for years. Meanwhile, she had been with the same guy for 8 years, and was always talking about how great and stable he was, as well as all the gifts that he would give her and all these other things. In 2017, I met my partner. We instantly connected on a level that I'd never experienced before, and after many months of just being friends and getting closer and closer in the name of platonic friendship, we eventually told each other how we really felt and began dating. I cannot express enough how much I love this man. He makes me feel adored, safe, supported, and appreciated. He's witty and smart and hilarious and incredibly gentle. We moved in together in 2019, and life has been blissful. Also in 2019, my sister fell pregnant. Her partner told her that he was getting ready to propose. However, about 5 months after the birth of my niece, he decided he didn't want to be with my sister anymore and he left. This was very traumatic for my sister, especially since this was around the time of COVID and lockdowns as well as all this stuff were being announced, and all of a sudden she was faced with being a single mom. Thankfully, she lived close to my parents and was able to form a bubble with their household, so she had their support, and when lockdowns eased, my boyfriend and I would help out whenever we could. It's been incredible watching my niece grow up, and it's been lovely watching my boyfriend be so good with her. He has 4 nephews, so he knows how to be a fun uncle, and this is about where the weirdness started happening. It began with my sister making constant comments about how good my boyfriend is with kids. I would agree with her, but then she'd make digs about how much it's a shame that he is with someone who doesn't want to have children, also known as me. She then says that it's such a waste of a good man, stating that he was born to be a dad. Soon enough, she would start sighing about how my boyfriend is perfect and how she needs to find another man just like him. Again, I would agree because in my honest opinion, he really is the perfect package, and I would love for my sister to find someone as great as him. But it soon became evident she doesn't want someone like him. She just wants my boyfriend. She began saying he is the main male figure in her daughter's life, and that he was the closest thing my niece had to a father. When my niece started talking and familiarizing herself with our roles, she would call him uncle, and then all of a sudden she started calling him daddy. I would always gently correct her and say, "No, darling, that's your uncle." But one time my sister heard this, and she yelled at me for correcting her daughter and said that I need to leave it alone, that it doesn't matter if she calls my boyfriend daddy. This is when I got really uncomfortable and put my foot down and told her that she needed to stop confusing her daughter and stop allowing her to think that my boyfriend is her daddy. I feel like my sister knows that letting my niece call my boyfriend daddy is only going to confuse her, but I also feel like she doesn't care because she just pretends my boyfriend is the daddy. After that fight, things got quite tense between us, and my sister started snapping at me over everything that I did, and this is all the while still mooning over my partner and telling him how amazing he is. A few times my partner had to stick up for me and tell my sister not to speak to me like that in our house, which always bruised her. Things hit a boiling point last weekend. She asked us to babysit my niece for a couple of hours while she gets her hair trimmed. This wasn't ideal, as my boyfriend was doing something that required a lot of concentration, and he needed some quiet time in that morning to do it. Plus, we had an engagement later that afternoon, so I reluctantly agreed, but explained to my sister that we needed to leave at a certain time, so she really had to be back by then. As a side note, my sister is very disrespectful of other people's time and has no regard for other people's lives. It's always all about her. So I took my niece to the park and let my boyfriend have some peace and quiet. We played for a while, then sat and had a coffee and some ice cream for the kid at my local cafe before eventually returning home. I expected my sister to be returning soon too, as she agreed, but as you could probably guess, she was a no-show. Time is ticking. My boyfriend and I really need to get going. I'm ringing calling my sister and she's still not answering. I'm stressed. Then all of a sudden she turns up 40 odd minutes late. I'm upset, but I don't even have time to get into it with her. So I just say goodbye to my niece. That's when my sister noticed what she insisted was mold on my niece's shoes. She asked me in a very loud voice if I let her walk in puddles, and I said she may have accidentally stepped in a puddle while at the park, but she wasn't jumping in them intentionally. My sister then started ranting like a lunatic, screaming at me that I was not to let her go in puddles without gumboots, and that because of my thoughtlessness, the shoes are now moldy. I said that's not how mold works. It doesn't grow after 3 hours. It can't be mold. Or if it is mold, it isn't there because of me. Mold simply doesn't grow in 3 hours. But my sister can't be told. She screamed at me, called me thoughtless and an idiot with no common sense or any maternal instincts. I stepped outside during this argument and told her she was acting appalling in front of her daughter. That's when she closed the back door on me and locked it, locking me out of my own house. I banged on the door and demanded that she unlock the door, to which she said, "Not until you calm down and I feel safe for you to be around my daughter." I was so disgusted at her audacity. How dare she lock me out of my own home? I went around to the front door, but she had locked that too. Luckily, I had my phone in my pocket, so I rang my boyfriend and I told him to let me in because she had locked me out of the house. He was upstairs and had no idea any of this happened. When he opened the door for me, I have never seen him look so angry in my life. He was furious, but he kept his cool and calmly but firmly told my sister to get out, that he was sick of her being so disrespectful to me when I bend over backwards trying to help her, and that she is no longer welcome under this roof until she apologized to me. She scoffed and said, "Well, that's never gonna happen," and then she stormed off and left. It's been a few days, and since then, she has been blowing up my boyfriend's phones with text messages, and my boyfriend has shown them all to me. In those messages, she apologizes to him, not to me, saying she's stressed out being a single mom and that she gets no support from her family. The only support she has is him. My boyfriend replied saying that the only time he is around her or my niece is when I'm there too. So her saying that is proof that she does not appreciate or see the amount of support I give her. My sister replied saying it's not the same because I'm not a maternal person and would never be a good mother, so I just don't get it like he does. Then she sent messages after messages, each more insane and inappropriate than the last, saying she wishes he was my niece's father, that he's everything she's ever wanted in a man, that they would make such a good team, that she is more compatible for him than I am, and that it breaks her heart every day she sees him wasting his life with me. There were also text messages where she talked about how great he looks and smells. My boyfriend replied saying, "This is not appropriate or appreciated. I'm not comfortable receiving messages, and I ask that you please not contact me again until you have resolved things with your sister." And after that, he blocked her completely. I'm just at such a loss on where to go from here. I love my niece so much, and I want to be in her life. I'm worried about my sister. I can see that she's struggling, and I want to help her. But this situation has become so toxic. Nothing I do is good enough. I'm tired of being screamed at for everything I do wrong, and being told that I don't have good maternal instincts, when others who have seen me with my niece tell me that I'm doing a great job. I may not want to be a mother, but I do want to be an aunt, and it hurts my feelings to have everything I try to do for my sister get dismissed. Then there's my sister's feelings towards my boyfriend, which at this point feels like an obsession. I feel like me and my boyfriend have been disrespected hugely by her. How do we navigate that? I genuinely have no idea what to do, and it hurts my head. What should I do? This is a crazy story, because quite literally, your sister is trying to steal your boyfriend. She even has her kid calling him daddy, and freaked out on you when you tried to correct her. The original poster's sister sounds unbelievably self-centered, and absolutely a little bit unhinged, and I think your boyfriend has it right. It might be time to block her for a little while. The way she's acting is absolutely irrational, and it honestly is such a shame because you want to be an aunt and you want to be in your niece's life, which is completely understandable. They deserve to have family around them that they love and care about. But in my opinion, and for the sake of you and your boyfriend's well-being, it's probably best to get some distance away from this lady because she clearly needs help. When her boyfriend broke up with her, it obviously broke her down, and I don't think there's anything you can do to try and fix that. I'm experiencing some changes and challenges in my relationship with my 40-year-old boyfriend, and I'm honestly not sure what to do. My boyfriend is a 40-year-old male, and I'm a 26-year-old female, and we have been together for a little over 6 months. He has pretty much been my first first everything. My first official date, my first real kiss, my first romantic relationship, etc. And in this relationship, I worry that I am overlooking things that I shouldn't for the sake of being fair. For a little bit about myself, I'm a bit shy and I hate confrontation. I like to make people happy and positive. Sometimes it's at the cost of my own happiness, which I am aware of, but it doesn't particularly make me stop. Now, I love my boyfriend. It's been magical to fall in love and to be loved for who I am, despite my many quirks when it comes to social interactions. He makes me very happy in a lot of ways. I have no doubts about his love for me or attraction to me. I get all the physical affection that I could possibly want. We are into the same type of TV shows. We can spend hours with each other and never get tired. I can tell that he wants to build something with me, but we are also very different. I'm a planner through and through, and he is more of a whatever happens, happens type of person. Despite the age difference between the two of us, I am more financially secure than him, and I make more money overall, even though that doesn't really bother me. I personally think that things being aesthetically pleasing is more important to me. When I make a commitment or start a serious project, I follow through. In contrast, he starts a lot of things and doesn't finish them if no one is holding him accountable. And these things low-key scare me a lot. I don't want to end up in a situation where I feel like I always have to be the responsible one, because it has been that way my entire life. I'm supposed to be the good kid of my siblings, as well as the mom of my old friend group. I don't seek out those roles, but someone has to do it. I think I am exiting the honeymoon stage and starting to realize and feel things that I'm not 100% okay with. He has been married twice before. One lasted 4 years and the other one lasted a little over 1. The second marriage was broken off with good reason for sure, but I get scared to ask about the other because it seems like it hurt him a lot and he just doesn't want to talk about it. He also doesn't really do romance either. We only went on really 2 dates before we became official, and he has not planned a date with us since then. He did take me out of town for my birthday, which I appreciated. However, outside of that, any official date we've gone on, I've planned or had to pay for, except for one where I just paid for everything because we had no idea where we were going when we left the house that night. Now, I offer to pay for these things. I wasn't forced, but that does lead me to another point. He drinks and smokes every day. It didn't really bother me until recently on one occurrence when it seemed a little overboard. And then he took a shot at 9 this morning right before we were going to get ready for church, which I emphasized to him that he didn't have to go if he didn't want to. And I honestly think that's what's kind of sent me into a spiral today. My intention is not just to complain about him, because I honestly do love him, and he has a lot of traits that I think would be hard to come by again. I know that he is a good guy overall, but these things are really starting to get to me. I don't want him to change for me, but I also don't know if I see myself spending the rest of my life like this. I was supposed to move in with him soon, but my main emotion towards this situation is anxiety. I worry that I'll fail in this relationship. I worry that I'll hurt him. I worry that I'm already in too deep to let go, and I honestly don't know what to do. I think when it comes to those special things like having date nights, or at least having him be more responsible in certain aspects of your life, I think you really just need to talk to him and explain exactly how you feel. Yeah, you might be different people. You like to plan a lot and he kind of flies by the seat of his pants, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad thing. While the age difference does have me a little nervous on your behalf, I think if it is working and you two are happy together, then I guess that's all that really matters. But overall, talking to him and having this kind of discussion would go a really long way in both of you deciding what you want out of this relationship, as well as what makes you really happy. My boyfriend is demanding that I make some huge changes in my life, and I'm honestly not sure what to do. I'm a 20-year-old female, and I have been dating my boyfriend who's 22 years old for just about 2 years. We broke up once early into our relationship due to a big fight as a result of my deteriorating mental health, as well as some family circumstances that he was dealing with at the time. I was in a psych ward for a month and a half following our original breakup from last year, which was between the months of May and June. The admission to the ward was already planned regardless of the breakup. We got back together in August last year, and from my perspective, things have been great for a long time. He is such a good man, and I'm now at a loss of what to do. My boyfriend has changed all of a sudden over the last week or so, but he is now saying I need to change the following things or we can't be together. For one, he's trying to tell me that I need to come off of my medication that I take for my mental health. I have been diagnosed with ADHD as well as autism, so I take a low dose of antipsychotics and stimulants. He has now suddenly decided that he wants me to experience life as it is and not be so dependent on these medications. I don't feel dependent, but I certainly feel more stable than I have have in years. He also wants me to quit my job and live with him. He says my schedule is too unpredictable and that he thinks it's stupid that I work when he can just support us. I only work 3 days a week though, and I even asked if a compromise could be made where I could work on the same days that he does. He says I should be at home studying for university while he is going to work. He also wants me to stop using any type of birth control, which is honestly what scares me the most, especially since he doesn't even want kids for a couple more years. Throughout these discussions, he's compared my fear to a junkie being scared before they go sober. I feel like all of this is just way too much, but I love him so much, and he's the only person I've ever met that made me feel so loved and understood. That is, up until now. I just need to know I'm not going crazy for not wanting to do all of this. If it was a gradual plan for the future, I would, but he wants me to do this as soon as possible. I'm seeing my psychiatrist tomorrow, so I will be asking them too, but I need some advice here as well, because I feel so trapped. I don't want to lose him, but I can't lose any more of myself in the process. What should I do? This may be the biggest red flags that I've ever seen in my life. He wants you to stop your medications, which you absolutely should not do. He wants you to quit your job so you can now depend on him, and he wants you to stop using any kind of birth control. All of these 3 things alone is like 3 strikes and you're out, in my opinion. This guy is absolutely toxic and you need to get away from him. For one, you absolutely should not just cold turkey cut off your medications. You absolutely need to talk to your doctor before you make any kind of decision like that, because sometimes those antipsychotics and stimulants can have very negative effects on your livelihood as well as your health if you just cut them off out of your system altogether all of the sudden. That is incredibly dangerous, and your boyfriend's an idiot for even suggesting that. I also think it's a horrible idea to live with this man. He is not a good person. He wants you to quit your job so you then are dependent on him, and this honestly just screams that he's going to financially abuse you. Basically hold it over your head that you have no job and that you're studying for university, which I would be very surprised if that even keeps up under his house. And I don't even think I need to begin to describe how messed up and weird it is that he's asking you to get off of birth control, but I'll let you use your imagination here and just know that this is incredibly weird, and no rational boyfriend would suddenly just be like, you have to do this or else we're gonna break up. He is also presenting all of this as if it's a do or die kind of moment. It's very black or white in his mind, and he's trying to manipulate you. So in my opinion, you need to break up with him and break up with him fast. This guy is trying to hurt you in a lot of different ways. And let's say even hypothetically that you decide to go along with all of this. Not only will your mental health deteriorate from not having a job, as well as not having the medications that are helping you stay stable, but you also probably will have a kid on the way, and then you really will be stuck with this guy. So in my opinion, it's time to get away from this man and get away fast, because he does not love you, and if anything, he's just trying to control you. My girlfriend of 6 years has been emotionally cheating on me for over a year with one of her coworkers, and at this point, I don't know what to do. My girlfriend, who we'll call Sophia, that's not her real name, has been with me for 6 years. When we first started talking, we were just cuddle buddies, as we'd like to put it. We would talk all day, every day until about 3 in the morning. We would send memes, selfies, family pictures, pickup lines, and puns to each other all the time. This lasted for about 3 months until we started dating, and continued for another year into the relationship. After the first year was over, the honeymoon phase was ended, and we started to talk less and less. The flirty comments disappeared, and we started to fight more and more as the years went on. We mostly fought about our communication, but with school and work, we found it difficult to manage. This continues on for about 4 years into the relationship. School is now over, and we're back home. I managed to find a job, and Sophia finds an internship. We try to hang out and talk, but COVID is a thing, so we don't see each other much, and we're both still super busy, so we're still not communicating enough. During Sophia's internship, she gets placed to work under another guy that we'll call Arthur. Again, not their real name. As far as I could tell, work was stressful, and she was struggling with the work, but Arthur helped her out, and she eventually was hired full-time, all because Arthur recommended her. She talks to Arthur every day after work, although I was not aware of this at the time. Meanwhile, we are not talking very much at all. We see each other infrequently and often fight over everything. At this point, my girlfriend is pretty much just ignoring me. Even when I was finally able to make time for her, she just completely shut me out, saying that she hates texting people and that she also hates talking on the phone. All of this as an excuse to just stop talking to me. So all of my attempts to reach out to her failed. In August, we were finally able to resolve our communication issues, and things seemed to be going fairly well compared to her. I I had asked her about Arthur on multiple different occasions after asking her about work and her work drama, where she was able to give a ton of details about it, but her only response was that he is good. Fast forward to today, and I had been having suspicions about her and Arthur for a while, so while she was sleeping at my house, I snuck into her phone and looked over their messages together. The messages were almost exact copies of what we were sending each other in the beginning of our relationship. She talks about this guy to all of her friends, saying how they are besties together and how cute he is. They often say how much they appreciate each other and get along extremely well. They also talk on the phone almost every day for hours for the past year. I took out my phone and compared the dates and times, and they were chatting it up all day every day. And this is on the days that I was with her, but she was distant, or it was on days where I made immense effort to talk to her, but was completely ignored just so she could respond to Arthur. I feel as though she has been emotionally cheating on me this last year, and I'm honestly just heartbroken. What can I do to get past this? Is this relationship over, or am I over-exaggerating? What should I do? From the sounds of it, your girlfriend absolutely has been emotionally cheating on you. She is acting distant with you while acting as her normal self with Arthur. I mean, that's just not fair to you in the slightest. You can hardly even call each other boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. So I think if anything, you definitely need to have a conversation about this. Yes, you did break into her phone and read her text messages, but if anything, it confirmed your worries, basically telling you that yeah, she's been emotionally cheating on you. And I would even go as far as to suspect that she's been doing a lot more than just emotionally cheating on you, if you know what I mean. So I think having a conversation about this and being ready for the worst might be the best thing to do, because this is not something I would let slide so easily. And if you were smart, you would definitely confront her about this. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And the next time you live stream, use the Cream of the Crop music. Search Cream of the Stream on Spotify or whatever platform you use for copyright-free music to use for your next stream.